Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to another episode of Blue Truth and Bourbon. I am your host, Steve. It's been a while. Been probably a month or better since I've been on here. I've been busy on my end doing some work on the side. So I've been out of the loop for a little bit, been away from the house. And when I did get back to the house, it was in the evening hours. I was ready to crash. So I appreciate you tuning in tonight if you are, or if you're watching live, or if you watch this later on. Thanks for watching. I am getting a lot of feedback from this thing. I don't know what it is. Might be the fan that's blowing in the background. So let me turn that down real quick. Not sure if that was it or not. Yeah, that's definitely. I'm not getting a scratch anymore. So yeah, so it's been about a month since we've been on here, and been doing some things on the side, some work, and so now I'm finally where I can sit down and actually concentrate on doing this. So glad to be back on here. Gonna try to stay consistent with it. Just talked to somebody today about that very thing, asking me when I was gonna get back on. So um, if you are tuning in live, you're watching us tonight, don't forget to give us a shout. Let us know that you're here watching. Because although I can see that there are people watching, I can't see who is watching. So without going through a whole mess of things, and I really don't want to try to figure it out. So when you are on here, give me a shout. Let me know you're here. So yeah, lots of things been happening this week, guys. All over the globe, all over the spectrum of stuff, not just law enforcement. Wow, just what 7 days? I mean, we've had some icons and some legends pass away. Man, what's that about? People are getting old. We're all getting old, guys. Obviously, one of the people that I grew up watching, Malcolm Jamal Warner, passed away. Waiting for more to come out about that. Seems like it was probably an accidental drowning where he was at. So, an icon of TV for quite a while during our childhood or during our teenage years or what have you. And then, of course, Ozzy Osbourne. That one was kind of expected and coming, with the Parkinson's and the other things he had going on. So, and then of course this morning I wake up and I'm scrolling through the news, and lo and behold, Hulk Hogan passed away this morning. And of course that was a big one. That one hit kind of hard. Um, I grew up watching Florida Championship Wrestling in the late '70s and early '80s, and I had plenty of favorites, but that's a guy that changed the game when he got on there, man. He was a legend in wrestling, and obviously going to be really missed in the wrestling community. Um, like I said, really changed the game. I mean, he's the one that really, I think, when Vince pulled him over and put him in the first WrestleMania, I think that's what started the modern era of wrestling. The way it is today, and the just the flamboyance and obviously the all over television now because of him. So Terry Bollea, Hulk Hogan is going to be missed. So yeah, Paul, you're right. Definitely comes in threes. We always see that. Strange how that happens. And I mean, I don't mean to be you know gross or whatever you call it. I don't mean to be it's just weird, when you come to think of I never would have thought that it would be Hulk Hogan, would go before Ric Flair. Willie Nelson's still alive. I'm glad for that. And I don't wish ill on anybody, but man, you would think that Keith Richards and Willie Nelson and God, if you were going to tell a wrestler, if you were going to have a wrestler go, and you'd have told me last week, hey, a wrestler is going to die, man, I'd have bet money on Ric Flair because good Lord, the stuff that he's put his body through. So yeah, it was it's not hard to come up with material for obviously for this podcast because we talk about law enforcement stuff and it seems like every day there's something in the news. And so there's been a plethora out there, and also in the politics. I've tried to stay um, away from politics as much as I can on this show, but obviously, when you talk about law enforcement and the things that we talk about with law enforcement, you do end up on the political side of it as well because ICE is law enforcement, border patrol. We get into the things that are going on in the country right now. So obviously, there's a lot of political stuff going on there out there. So uh, yeah, I may get a little political at times. We'll see. You know, obviously, politics is a hot topic, and people love to argue about politics. So we may do more of that just so that we can get our viewership up. So thanks for being here, guys. If you are here, let me know you're here. Paul, I appreciate you being here tonight. Um, Blue Truth and Bourbon. And so, as you can see, um, maybe you can't, but you saw what I was going to talk about tonight if you were on my page. The name of the show or the theme of the show is Call Your Supervisor. Call Your Supervisor. That is a viral trend right now on every social media outlet that's out there, if you ask me. I watch a lot of video just to prepare for the shows and to get ideas about topics and things like that. And I know most of you probably do as well. And so every other video you watch of a traffic stop, specifically, well, especially traffic stops, but um, the videos, every other video I watch is call your supervisor, give me a lieutenant. I want to see your supervisor. I need to talk to your supervisor. And it's oh yeah, even like Chris is on here talking. Uh, what's your name? What's your badge number? And those typically those Chris. Well, it does happen on traffic stops, but those and it's something we're gonna get into eventually on a topic. Those tend to be the First Amendment auditors that like to get you. So they get on there and they go, hey, what's your name? What's your badge number? So they can, and then they go, oh, good boy, good boy. That's why I always that fires me up. I don't know if you guys have seen that, but uh, good boy always gets me going. Brian, good to see you here. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Yeah, so call your supervisor. Now, the reason I decided on this topic today is I, most of you have probably seen it. You may have not. And honestly, for those of you that are in law enforcement, tonight's topic is more for entertainment value and maybe for educational value for you as well. If you're some of the young guys that are watching this now or watching it later on, um, maybe there's a little education involved. The topic tonight, for those of you who are not in law enforcement, it's mostly for you. Um, Not that I'm not glad that the guys in law enforcement aren't here because I appreciate that. And so, but those of you who are not involved in law enforcement, just trying to educate you a little bit. I posted this out on my own personal Facebook page a couple of weeks ago. Maybe it was a week ago, maybe a little less. I don't know. But I put on there that just because you request for an officer, deputy, trooper to call their supervisor and have them respond to the scene does not mean that the deputy, officer, trooper has to call their supervisor. Just not the case. We don't have to call somebody to show up for you just because you think you need to see a supervisor. It's very frustrating for all involved when you do that, because if you're a young cop and you don't know any better, You start getting frazzled. I just saw a video yesterday where some guy apparently pulled some young girl over, and at some point asked her to have a seat in his car. Now, I didn't see the body cam video. All I saw was this idiot that was videotaping the officer who was in his car, obviously working on something on his computer. And he got pissed off that the guy had asked the niece, or I think it was a niece, to have a seat in the car. And so he's videotaping this officer, and he says, "Call your supervisor." So, of course, the supervisor shows up. But there are reasons that you would ask somebody to have a seat in the car. This guy obviously was going from the end of, oh, well, he was implying that this officer was inappropriate. I don't know. Didn't see the body cam video. Don't know that they've released any body cam video or shown any body cam video of that. But if you're a newer officer, and this officer, you could tell he was probably newer. He was a young guy, very intimidated, very scared by this guy who was videotaping him because he was very loud. Obviously, they're always loud. They're always right, according to them. So can be very frustrating. But the incident that we're going to talk about tonight is the most recent incident that I have seen, and that is the incident in Jacksonville, Florida. Most of you have probably seen it. William McNeil, a young black male, was pulled over, and I have the video. We're going to go through it. We're going to watch it a little bit, and just so you understand, and you guys are free to comment on anything that you want to about this. What we're going to do, though, what I'm going to focus on is the call your supervisor aspect of it, and really the traffic stop itself, not the use of force. So I'm really not going to get too far into the weeds on the case itself. I just want to educate people as far as how far you think you can go is not how far you can actually go with a trooper deputy officer when you're asking these kind of questions on traffic stops. So if you haven't seen it, we're going to show it here a little bit. Let me add this.
Charlie Whiskey on a silver Kia. I don't know
They just did the traffic stop.
Yes, sir. Is there a reason why you're popping the door?
This is from YouTube. This is from police activities page. And again, just using this for educational purposes to show you guys about the traffic stop, what this guy did, and just my 2 cents on it. I'm sure a lot of you agree. Mark, I see your comment. Yeah, I agree with you. If I ever showed up somewhere, one of my guys called me, for sure the bad guy was not happy with me either. So, or maybe not the bad guy, but the other guy. And Jeff agreed. It's all a distraction, and that's all this is. In my opinion, that's all this is with this guy. Call your supervisor is just a way to intimidate, to distract the deputy officer trooper from doing what they're actually there to do. And somehow they think that this is going to get you to just go, okay, I'm sorry I pulled you over, but this is a trend these days. So pulls the guy over. He's explaining to him. He asks him why he popped the door open on him. This guy says, well, my window doesn't work. So let's continue to kind of watch and see what goes on here.
Open like that?
I don't have a window that works. Is there a reason that you're pulling me over?
Yeah, absolutely. There's a reason why I'm pulling you over. For one thing, inclement weather, you don't have your lights on. Two things, you're not wearing your seatbelt.
It's daylight. I don't need the lights. And it's not weather. It's not raining.
Oh, this is inclement?
It's not raining.
Okay, I'm not arguing with you. I'm telling.
So obviously, we're already getting into the. This guy's already belligerent. He's not loud, but he's belligerent. Basically explaining to this officer, this deputy, because it's Jacksonville Sheriff's Office, but it's Metro. But explaining to this guy why he thinks that he should not have been pulled over. Now, he's already told him, you don't have your lights on. Inclement weather. You can kind of look and see in the video, it's probably been raining at some point. In the state of Florida, if it's raining, you have to have your lights on and your windshield wipers or you should have your wipers on. I guess you're not legally required to have your windshield wipers on, but you are required to have your lights on while it's raining. And he's not wearing a seatbelt. So he's good to go on the traffic stop. There's no doubt about that.
Telling you why I'm pulling you over. Give me your driver's license, registration, proof of insurance.
No, call your supervisor. Why?
Excuse me?
Call your supervisor.
So we haven't even gotten a minute into this traffic stop. And he's call your supervisor. Now, why do I need a supervisor to show up to tell me how to do a traffic stop? I don't. There's no reason for a supervisor. In fact, the supervisor is going to get there, like Mark says, and tell this guy, hey, dude, you're wrong. You have to give him your driver's license. You have to identify yourself. It's a traffic stop. So those of you who are not in law enforcement or watching this, put yourself in this driver's shoes. You get pulled over. You've already been told why you've been pulled over. There is no argument here. Okay. Even if you don't agree with why I pulled you over, this is not the time to debate those things. If at the end of the day you get a ticket, you want to take it to court, we can debate that in court. If you get arrested, you go to jail, we can debate that in court. But we're not going to argue on the side of the road. I'm going to do my job. You're not going to tell me how to do my job. You don't have the right to tell me how to do my job. And I don't have to call a supervisor.
Why did you pull me over?
3735. I'm cooperative dog driver. I've already told you.
Why did you pull me over?
Step out of the vehicle.
No.
Step out of the vehicle.
So right here, obviously in every cop's mind, this has now become a resisting situation. Not necessarily means I'm going to take you to jail, but now we have escalated the situation. We are now at a point where you were refusing to cooperate with my traffic stop, and thus we have entered a whole new level of potential things on my radar that I can do, that I'm allowed to do as a law enforcement officer. Again, how many times did he ask for the supervisor? 3 or 4 or 5 times, right? He explained to him 4 or 5 or 6 times why he pulled him over. So to continue to ask why you pulled me over, we're not getting anywhere, and we're not going to debate. Closes the door on him. And you'll notice in this video, I kind of speeded up here a little bit because I'm not concerned with a lot of what's going on. But he just asked for backup. And so
25 seconds. For 9-4, the driver just slammed the door and locked it.
Call your supervisor.
Yep.
So I don't know if you can hear him through the window, but he is saying, continue to say, call your supervisor. So another officer, deputy responds, parks the car from the front, obviously to prevent this guy from driving off from this traffic stop. Again, I have no problem with this. We're in a resisting situation. If he drives away now, we're going to have fleeing, eluding, all that kind of good stuff. So, but folks, here's the situation. Whether you like the word comply or not, whether you want to use like the sheriff says in his press conference, just do what we ask you to do. That's plain and simple. Just do what we ask you to do. So if comply is too strong of a word for you, and you think, well, comply is threatening or whatever, what have you, that's just not the case. So if you were involved in a traffic stop, just do what we ask you, get through the traffic stop, and you're going to be on your way. And that's what eventually one of the other officers that responds to.
Open the door and exit, or we are going to break the window.
Well, we're conducting a traffic stop right now. You need to comply.
No, he's under arrest.
So he's already told him he's under arrest for resisting. That's the little part that I sped over, but he did tell him, you're under arrest for resisting, open the door. So now we're already at an arrest situation. This officer has already decided, hey, we're going to jail. So you don't have an argument here anymore. There's no, hey, let's talk about this thing. He's already decided this guy's going to jail.
Hey, I'll out the car. I'm going to push it up.
Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door and exit. You are under arrest for resisting. Open the door.
Again, you can hear him through the windows. Call your supervisor, call your supervisor, call your supervisor. Folks, we are not required to call a supervisor just because you ask for one. Now, there may be squad policies. There may be, I don't know, maybe some agencies have policies where if somebody requests a supervisor, you are required to call one. And I can tell you this, I'm pretty confident that in my 25 years in law enforcement and conducting traffic stops, I don't think I ever had anybody tell me to call my supervisor. I may have called one after the fact when somebody gets put in handcuffs or stuff like that, so I can kind of head things off at the pass before complaints come in or something like that. But I don't remember ever having somebody on a traffic stop tell me to call my supervisor.
And exit. You are under arrest for resisting.
Can you unlock the door and step out? I will. Can you step out?
So again, this officer's trying to talk to him through the window. And if you have seen the videos for this, obviously this video on the right portion of this video is the video that Mr. McNeil is recording from inside of his vehicle. I can't say this for a fact, but the videos that I've seen of McNeil recording don't start until the officer, after he closes the door on the officer, and then he starts recording. So that should tell you something when you start watching these videos, because most of these videos that you see of people recording their own interactions with law enforcement don't start until after they have done something to create a problem. And now they start recording to make it look like the officer is the one who has created the problem. Now, again, I'm not going to delve too far into the weeds on the use of force or McNeil's history, his record, anything like that, because it's another conversation, and it's not what we're focusing on tonight. To me, when you watch this video, it's obvious that he's trying to me, instigate, incite, and create a scene that he knows is not going to end well, because he knows nobody's going away. He's got a cop car in front of him. He's got one behind him. He's not going anywhere. But he thinks that he's going to get a supervisor out there, and that's going to solve all of his problems. And so at this point, they've been talking through the window. This guy has decided.
Can you put that long? Yeah, when you step out. What is your reason, sir? What is your reason? Step out now. All right.
And so that's where I'm going to end the video, just because the rest of it is the use of force and things like that. And I really don't want to get into that. But again, for those of you who are watching that are not involved in law enforcement, this is what happens when you watch these videos and then decide that you're going to try that by yourself when you're on the road, when you get pulled over. And I can assure you that if you continue to watch these videos and continue to believe that the person who is recording the video, not the body cam from the police officers, but the person themselves who's recording the video, if you continue to believe that those people are accurate in what they are doing, if you follow up, most of them are ended up being convicted for whatever it is that they were stopped for, or whatever reason is that we had to break the window, and they go to jail for. So that's what's going to end up happening to you, is you're going to end up going to jail. But calling a supervisor, not required. We don't have to let a supervisor come out and tell us that it's okay or not okay to take somebody to jail. Yes, we have discretion. We can decide whether or not somebody's going to go to jail or not. But when you follow these videos and you decide that I'm going to try this, and I'm going to make you call your supervisor, and your supervisor is going to come out and they're going to tell you that you're wrong, it's just not going to happen. I've never gotten to a call, any call, not just specifically a traffic stop, but any call, where I have gone against what one of my deputies was doing. I've never told them, no, don't take this person. Well, some of you who are watching or may watch this might call me out on that little lie I was just about to tell. I have told somebody that we're not going to take the person to jail, but we are going to file charges on the person after breaking a window. And I will just say, without mentioning any names of the people that I was working for at the time, that I was encouraged to not take the person to jail, or I was encouraged to tell my people to not take the person to jail. And when I encouraged my folks to not take them to jail, I set them aside and basically explained to them that this was not my opinion, that this was coming from above me, and that by doing this, we are opening ourselves up to a liability, and we are opening ourselves up to media scrutiny, and we are opening ourselves up to a problem, because inevitably the person said, well, you didn't have any reason to take me to jail in the first place. That's why you didn't. So, but 99.9% of the time, I would never go against what the deputy chose to do. And I wasn't against what this deputy wanted to do. This is a very similar scenario where we had to break a window and pull somebody out of a car. And some of you may be familiar with that. Some of you may not. But yeah, just because you ask for a supervisor doesn't mean we're bringing one to you. And I'm not trying to be repetitive. I'm just trying to get the folks who are on here that or may watch this that are not involved in law enforcement to understand that these videos are fallacies. They are not. Now, don't get me wrong. In my personal opinion, although these officers have been cleared of violating any criminal acts, they may have violated policy of JSO. I don't know. That's being investigated. But in my opinion, McNeil is probably going to get paid and get paid a lot of money. Because that's what juries do today. He's already got an attorney. I'm sure you guys have seen who his attorney is. So he's probably going to get paid. And that's why a lot of folks do this, because they know that the temperature right now is such that juries are going to tend to favor individuals over law enforcement every time these days. And so these guys are looking to get paid. The thing I want to educate you on is that this guy still went to jail. In fact, he pled guilty to resisting an officer without violence. He's got several other charges, to include some drug charges, some stuff that they found in the car, which is probably why he didn't want anybody, taking him to jail or getting him out of the car or anything like that, because he was aware of what was in his car. But the moral of the story, for those of you who are not involved in law enforcement, I know I keep saying that, but the guys that are watching right now that are commenting, we're all in agreement. We've all been there. We've all done this. We've all pulled people out of cars. Some of us have broken windows and pulled people out of cars. Like Brian says, the vent window. We've dragged some people out of some cars, and rightfully so, legally allowed to do that. And so those of you who are not involved in law enforcement understand the reality of this is that you are going to get drug out of a car. We are going to break your window. We are going to drag you out of a car. You are going to go to jail. You're going to pay lots of money. And the majority of these folks do not get paid. There's some other things involved in the use of force, whether I agree with it or not, that are going to end up in this guy getting paid. It's just the plain and simple of it. That's my opinion. Probably going to come to fruition, and we'll do an update when it comes around. Because he may have violated some policies. Again, that's all going to be involved in the use of force and stuff like that. Because, in my opinion, breaking the window out, pulling this guy out of the car, no policy violation, unless they have some sort of deranged policy that says that you're not allowed to break windows and pull people out of cars who resist you. I don't know where that exists, but it might. So, what's up, Andy? Thanks for being here. Yeah, there may, sorry about that, guys. There may be a policy somewhere that he violated prior to the struggle going on and what happened thereafter. I don't know. But again, the reason we're here tonight is to talk about this whole call your supervisor thing. I don't know. Those of you who are here, I know Mark already said, when he showed up, they weren't going to like his assessment of the situation, and they were going to walk away in handcuffs as well. But those of you who've been supervisors, I mean, what do you think? Have you ever? Has anybody that's watching right now? Have you ever made somebody unarrest somebody? Have you ever made somebody let somebody go? I'd be interested. I mean, it's obviously, like I said, we have discretion when we do things like this, but to me, it's a situation where you're just those of you who are consider, considering doing something like this and trying it out for yourself. Call your supervisor type of thing. I don't know where this trend started or why it started. I have my opinion that it started sometime around 2020 when we started allowing violent protests and things like that, and people started to get away with more and more. And unfortunately, this is what it has come to. This is what we have allowed to occur because we have tolerated it. We have tolerated people telling us how to do our job. And again, my feeling is that a lot of that has come from younger officers or deputies or troopers who are not necessarily familiar with what they can and cannot do, or from folks who have watched way too many videos of officers, deputies, troopers getting in trouble and have decided that, man, it's just not worth it. I don't want to get in trouble because I'm not going to be the next guy on the news. I'm not going to be the next guy in professional standards or internal affairs, whatever your agency calls it. I'm not going to be the guy who ends up thrown under the bus by the agency for something like this. And honestly, the incident that I was involved in, the next afternoon, we were all at the sheriff's office, and we were all sitting in the parking lot when the news conference was being held, and somebody asked the question about the incident that we had, and of course, the administrator said that the video was troubling. And of course, we all saw that. So immediately we're trying to figure out what the heck's going on because we know that we were allowed to do what we did. We knew we were within policy. In fact, another part of the command staff immediately came looking for me to let me know that everything that we did was kosher and that they were going to look into it, but not to worry about anything. But it's just the fact that, somebody had said that it was troubling that concerned me. And so when we do that, that's when we open the floodgates just a little bit and things start to trickle in. And, to me, that's disturbing because at that point, and I don't know, I really didn't follow up on the case because several things happened in my career where I got to the point where things happened and I didn't care a whole lot anymore. So I never really followed up with what happened with this case. So I don't know if the individual got paid money. I'm sure they did because that's what was done at the time. But, this is what happens when you get on there on TV and you make statements like that, that's where guys start to go, whoa, I don't want to do this anymore. I'm not going to do traffic stops anymore because I'm not running the risk of this happening to me. Brian, I agree with you. For the longest time, obviously there was no video to back things up. And I never, I had people that work for me that, some of them I had to watch, but the majority of people I didn't have to watch. I didn't have to, have my thumb on their, on everything that the little thing that they did. I didn't have to, question what was going on. I agree. I had good group of folks that, I always trusted what they said to me. And even after video, I was, fortunate in a couple of situations where, people complain. I watched the video. What they said happened never happened. And I was able to tell them that. And then they wanted to complain about something that happened to them by somebody else who wasn't involved with me. And, I had to pass them off to somebody else. Well, that's not my guy. You got to go talk to their supervisor about that. But, to me, these videos, and obviously social media is horrible for this, because everybody has a video camera, and it's all on video both ways. People are, oh, I'm recording. Okay, well, I am too. So we'll both have video of this. But when we allow these things to trickle in, and we allow, obviously when stuff like this happens, man, if I was still working today and I was a supervisor today, my briefings would be all about this kind of stuff. I'd show the video. Hey, this is what we can do, guys. You're allowed to do this. And so educating these guys more and more, to keep them from second guessing themselves, or, because ultimately you second guess yourself. You never know what's going to happen. Apparently this guy had a knife on the floorboard. They said he reached for it. I don't know. You can't see his hands in the video, so we can't guess or assume anything like that. So who knows what went on. But when you guys watch these videos, those of you who are not in law enforcement, those of you who think that this is somehow an egregious situation committed by those deputies or law enforcement, understand that you're only getting one side of the video most of the time, and you're not seeing what we saw in that video. That was body cam video. So, and even the sheriff, when he came out and talked about it, he said, look, we've released the body cam video. You can see from the body cam video, this guy is belligerent from the word go. Within less than a minute, he's already decided I need to see a supervisor, and that's not required. So as these videos, happen, I would encourage more and more agencies to be quick about putting out the body cam video, especially when it shows that the person is lying. Now, again, without getting into the weeds on the use of force, those things, that's what happens. When you decide that you're not going to cooperate, comply, do what we ask you to do, whatever words you want to use. Here's the thing, guys. If you would disagree with the ticket, take it to court. In the state of Florida, and I believe this is countrywide, even if you agree or disagree with the fact that you're going to jail, you disagree with them being able to arrest you, you are not legally allowed to resist arrest, with or without violence. You are not allowed to resist an officer taking you to jail. Just not allowed, plain and simple. And so the time to discuss that is in court. If the judge agrees with you, if the jury agrees with you that the officer, the deputy, the trooper had no reason to stop you, no reason to arrest you, that's when you get your say in court. But until that happens, you are not allowed to resist. And so by watching these videos, if you think that you are encouraged to do this kind of thing because you see it on social media. It's just not the case. There's a lot that goes exactly right, Brian. There's a lot that goes into the decisions that we make, and that can't all be seen on video, like Brian just said. And that's why, a lot of these, especially when you get into uh, videos where maybe there's a shooting and you can't necessarily see what's going on in the periphery because the camera doesn't pick all that stuff up, and something happens and a deputy or officer or trooper makes a decision to fire their weapon, their pew pew, whatever. I don't want to get banned from Facebook for saying the wrong words. But if they use a tool that the video can't see what's going on, now the video comes into question. Oh, well, I didn't see that on the video. Okay, well, video doesn't catch everything. So when it comes down to it, guys, those of you who are not in law enforcement, don't pay attention to these videos. Do not do what this guy did. You don't have the right to resist. I don't have to call a supervisor. I don't have to bring out a lieutenant, a sergeant to tell you the exact same thing that I'm telling you now. Do what I ask you to do. Take your lumps, meaning a ticket or an arrest, and then have your day in court. But the minute that you decide that you're going to escalate the situation, the deputy officer trooper is going to meet that escalation, and they're going to do the job that they have to do, the job that they're paid to do, the job that they're required to do. I saw something funny today. I saw a meme that said, when I was in law enforcement, people always told me that they paid they paid my paycheck, and now that I'm retired, they're paying for my retirement as well. So thank you very much. So I thought that was funny. But ultimately, guys, this video, let's follow up on it. Keep watching it, see what happens with this guy. I don't know where he's gonna. He's got an attorney. He's gonna make money, in my opinion. I don't know. I've done research on the use of force on the stuff and the officer involved, and so I encourage you to do the same thing. Look at this case, see where it's at. Form your own opinion based on what you see coming out. I will tell you this. They say there's some stuff in the background of the officer. That doesn't mean anything to me, unless it's just all egregious stuff where he's breaking windows every third day and pulling people out of cars. I might look at that. But ultimately, each situation is its own situation. Today's traffic stop it doesn't equate to yesterday's traffic stop, and what happens in the moment, like Brian says, what happens in that moment, that's going to dictate what goes on. So encourage you, if you are a civilian that likes to watch these videos, and the ones where you're a traveler and all that stuff, and maybe we'll do some stuff on that too, sovereign citizens and stuff like that. But what do you think? I mean, don't hesitate to leave me comments when you're watching this later on. Comments now. The days where juries believe cops, those days are long gone. And so unfortunately, it gets harder and harder to do our job, and it gets harder and harder to do our job when we have videos like this. When you have people like this that react this way, that do this kind of thing, it just makes our job harder because more and more people try, more and more people do this kind of thing. And unfortunately, you have to make that decision. What are you going to do? How are you going to react? How are you going to respond to it? If you decide that you don't want to do traffic stops anymore, hey, I feel you. I watched it happen for a couple of years where, we were discouraged from doing so. because it's all about perception today. There's not a lot of administrations with a backbone anymore. I don't know if Jeff Brown is still here, but there are a couple agencies with some superheroes. We've seen that. I don't know if you followed my page or not, but there are some guys that have portrayed themselves as superheroes. Guys that probably haven't seen written a report in 20 plus years. There are some superheroes out there. Let me see what Andy's got to say here. Always get the entire story. That punch to the face could have been 100%. Well, yeah, I didn't want to get too deep into the use of force, but yeah, again, we don't know what happened. We don't see the guy's hand, so we don't know if he's reaching for the knife. But like Andy says, the media and the social media, the cop haters, they love this kind of stuff, and it sells papers. It gets ratings, and I'll never be an administrator at an agency, but my thought process in all of this stuff is that if I were an administrator, I can tell you this: I would not. Those people who are critical of law enforcement are going to be critical of law enforcement regardless of the situation. They've had a bad experience. They just hate cops because of who they are. Um, I would not pay one bit of attention, one iota. I wouldn't give a rat's behind about critics of law enforcement. As an administrator, yes, we're going to look at people, being overly aggressive, out of control. Yeah, we're going to take care of that stuff. We're going to discipline people that do stuff that they shouldn't be doing. But the squeaky wheel that gets the grease, no. It as an administrator, I'm not paying any attention to that. I really don't care. It's ultimately the folks that all of these videos are meant for us to incite the public and to get the rest of the people to hate the cops. And you're going to get the ones that are never going to think that the cops did anything wrong, and you're going to get the ones that think that everything that the cop did was wrong. So as an administrator, this sheriff has handled this really well as far as I'm concerned. He's been very professional, and I've seen other interviews with him on some other stuff where he's basically where they had a shooting at JSO, and he basically came right out and said, that's a guy we're not going to have to deal with anymore. And if he's willing to shoot at a cop, he's willing to shoot at anybody. And that's just the plain and simple. There's just not enough. And like I said, guys, if you're watching this and you're a cop and you've seen enough of these videos where you're like, yeah, screw it, it's not worth it to me. I get it. I do. There's not enough administrations right now that are out there backing people up. We're more concerned with TikTok videos and making sure that the public perception is good rather than being an effective leader, being aggressive in pursuing bad guys. In my opinion, and again, this is just Steve talking, I'll never be an administrator, but we need to get back to, it doesn't matter what community you live in, who you are. We've got to stop bowing down to special interests, because in my opinion, everybody that lives in your jurisdiction is a special interest. And so they all deserve the same treatment, same fair treatment that you would give anybody and everybody, regardless of who they are, the color of their skin, their orientation. They all deserve to be treated the same. And so in that, you have to, as an administrator, in my opinion, you have to, like I said before, if I was an administrator, my opinion to the public, and I would have a news conference to say this, is that if you are a criminal in our jurisdiction, or if you come into our jurisdiction and commit a crime, We are going to aggressively pursue you. We are going to arrest you. We are going to present the best case possible to the state attorney's office to send you to jail or prison so that the remainder of our citizens can be comfortable in walking out of their door and feel safe every day. And unfortunately, that's not the case in most places these days because most administrations are so worried about the perception rather than taking care of the criminal element. And in my opinion, this lawsuit that's coming, this McNeil is there's a lawsuit obviously coming down the pike. This is why people do what they do, because we pay off people. He's going to be a millionaire. I promise you, he's going to be a millionaire, in my opinion. And this will continue to happen. We will continue to pay people, and we will continue to have people do this because they know that they can get away with it. So I'm encouraging those of you who are not in law enforcement, who you get pulled over, just do what you're asked to do and go to court if you have to. Don't go to jail. Don't get into a fight with the cops. It's not worth it. It really isn't. So, guys, I thank you guys for being here tonight. We're closing in on an hour. So, thanks for watching. Thanks for showing up. If you have any suggestions for show topics, stuff you want to see, there's my email address at the bottom, bluetruthbourbonpodcast@gmail.com. You can comment on the videos. Remember that on Facebook, they're only there for 30 days now, but they will be on my YouTube channel and they're there forever. So keep watching, keep recommending me. If you enjoy what you hear, even if you don't enjoy what you hear, I don't care. This is for me. This is for, I get to vent. I get to have fun doing this. And again, we'll get some more people on to talk about some things, share some stories, and hopefully, maybe we can get some real famous people, people that I think are famous, people in my life that I think are famous, and get on here and talk about their war stories, talk about things that matter to those of you who are out there. So if you, would see over here, like and subscribe on my YouTube channel, like my videos on Facebook and stuff like that, so I get the viewership. I'm not really worried about it again, but thank you so much for being here, guys. If you enjoy what you see, just let me know, because I don't know, it's encouraging. It's fun to know that there's somebody there that likes what you're doing. So if you have any comments, concerns, complaints, you can send them to that email address. Here, I'll pop it up there again so you guys can see. There we go, bluetruthbourbonpodcast@gmail.com. I'm on Facebook as well as YouTube right there at Blue Truth Bourbon Podcast. And I just enjoy getting on here and talking to you guys. I enjoy the comments. And again, we'll have some more folks on here to, have a good time. So, Mark, good seeing you. Thanks for being here. Yep, Monday's going to be a good time. Hopefully we get a lot of people to show up, eat some wings, and share some more stories and laugh and joke about the fact that none of us are there anymore, so we don't have to worry about all that crap. And again, like I said, guys, just thanks for being here, and hopefully you guys have a good weekend, and we look forward. I'm going to try to be consistent, be on here again next week, find something to talk about, or you can shoot me an email and let me know what you want me to talk about. I'm sure between now and next Wednesday, when I plan on doing it, Wednesday nights instead of Thursdays. Today is Thursday, but Wednesday nights when I plan on doing it. Is Captain Morgan okay instead of absolutely whatever your choice? In fact, tonight all I have is Dr. Pepper. I don't even have any bourbon with me, so in here I do have bourbon in the house. So enjoy a drink on me tonight, guys. Have a cigar, and we'll see you hopefully next week. All right. I'm sure, like I said, I was going to say, sure, something's going to happen between now and next Wednesday that's going to get my blood boiling or get me talking. I may even get political next week. We may talk about some of these I don't call them ice raids. I call them ice roundups, but a lot of people like to call them ice raids. people we're putting in jail, the bad people that are going to jail that shouldn't be here in the first place. So let me know what you think, guys. I will holler at you later.